Hi there, in this video I'm going to show you how I transform this black hair right here. I'm going to turn it into a wig and then recolor the hair. Let's start first with the wig making process. I'm using a 2x6 closure and 2 bundles of 14-inch bone straight hair. That's the closure, 1 piece of closure and 2 bundles of hair. Yes, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out for my wig cap, and I'm using the medium-sized wig cap on a 22-inch canvas head. This is the closure right here. I'm going to pin the closure down to the wig cap on the canvas head, and you can see that I move the closure at least ½ inch forward from where the wig cap is placed. This is to ensure that the closure area is not too backward. So try and ensure that you put your closure a little bit forward than where the wig cap is. I pin it on the 2 sides on the front, and I'm also going to pin it on the back side, and I'm trying to ensure that the line is still straight. You want to ensure that you get the line to be straight while you pin the closure down, so that when the client wears the wig, the closure area, the pattern of the closure is straight on the client's head. So I'm going to pin this area here, this other side here down. Then I'm going to reach out for my needle and thread and start sewing down the closure on the wig cap. Some people choose to use their sewing machine when it comes to sewing down the closure, but I prefer to use my needle and thread because it just helps me ensure that the placement of the closure is perfect, nothing moves, it stays in place. So another thing you can do is you can mark out the area where the closure is supposed to be and then use your sewing machine to sew it. But for certain reason, I just prefer to use my needle and thread to sew down the closure. So I clipped the hair away now, and I'm about to start using the needle and thread to sew down the closure on the wig cap. And with the way I threaded the needle, I did the double threading method and tied it at the end. So I just looped the first thread through the closure and the wig cap and secured it by putting the needle through the thread and pulling it to get to the end, and I'm continuing to sew the closure down on the wig cap. So just watch and see how I sew down the closure and from one side and take it over to the other side. It's a very repetitive process. If you watch my other tutorials on how to make a wig, I'm quite sure you've seen how I thread my needle. If you haven't seen if you don't know how to thread your needle, then you can check out my tutorial on how to make a wig. I think it's a very old tutorial from about 3 years ago, so I'm going to link that video up on this one so you could go and check that out in case you don't know how to thread your needle. But it's very simple. So I'm going to keep on sewing the closure down, and if there's any place where there's like it didn't go through smoothly, I'm just going to use my needle and pull it and drag it so that the stitching is very smooth. From one side I take it down to the back side, and from the back I take it down to the other side and sew it down securely. So watch and see how this goes. Now that we've secured our closure on the wig cap, next we're going to reach out for this white chalk here and mark out the area on the wig cap where we're going to sew the bundles. And I'm starting from the downside, and you can see that I'm going to sew from one end and turn it around to the other side. You see the way I turned the chalk drawing on the wig cap? That's how I'm going to sew the closure on the wig cap, because one thing I don't do is I don't cut my wefts. I try as much as possible not to cut the weft, except I'm already at the upper part of the wig and it's just something I must do. So I turn around when I'm sewing. I don't cut my weft. So this is how I sew on the wig cap. From the way I'm turning around with the chalk, that's how I'm going to be turning around with the weft. So watch how I do it. When I'm done drawing the entire guideline of where I want to place the weft on, I'm going to start to unravel the weft and thread my needle on the sewing machine. So this right here is the sewing machine I use, which is the Victoria sewing machine. So I'm just using the thread now to thread my sewing machine. If you don't know how to thread a sewing machine, just know that the various sewing machines available in the market, there are different ways in which they thread them. This particular sewing machine I'm using is not one that's common, but the reason why I like the sewing machine is because I can sew with different methods. I can use the straight, I can use the zigzag. There's a smaller zigzag, there's a wider zigzag. So I typically use the number 2, that's a zigzag, the bigger zigzag, when I'm sewing. So what I'm going to do now is simply cut open one of the wefts by just cutting out those bands that I used to secure the weft on the up part. Then I'm going to unravel the weft and start the wig making process using my sewing machine. So because I'm using just 2 bundles of hair for this tutorial, for this particular wig, I'm going to sew down I'm not going to double track this weft because it's only 2 bundles of hair. I want to ensure that the 2 bundles of hair is enough to make a full wig. So I'm going to use just one single part of the weft and start from the first line I drew on that wig cap. I'm going to put that first tie at the beginning of the weft there and start to sew it down. And from the beginning part, make sure you backtrack the sewing so that you secure the beginning part. And also when I get to one corner of the wig, when I sew to one corner of the wig, I'm also going to backtrack to sew it so that that place there is secure. Then I will take the wig cap off from the sewing machine, but I sort of pull my thread to allow me have that room so that I don't have to retread the needle again just because I want to sew on that side. So you can see how I flipped that weft around on the other side of the wig cap, and now I'm just sewing through that beginning area. I'm going to sew it all the way down. What I'm basically doing is I'm following the guidelines that I already drew down for where I want to securely sew the weft on. What I'm doing is just sewing the weft on that lines that I drew. So I'm going to take it from one side to the other side, and I'll keep on going until I get to the up part of the wig. It's a very repetitive process. The key thing is just knowing how to work your sewing machine and knowing exactly what to do. The guidelines are already there. The wig making process is really easy, but the most important thing is you need to ensure that you pay attention to detail to ensure that you sew the weft down securely, and you don't sew the weft in a way that the needle doesn't hold down the weft to the wig cap, because when that happens, you find out that there are lots of bumps when you touch the wig at the up part. Taking your hand downwards, that's after you finish making the wig, it's not going to be smooth. So ensure you sew the tip, that's the top of the weft, down securely. So pay attention, use your fingers to hold the wig cap and the weft to ensure that you properly secure the weft down. You're not sewing lower than where the weft is. You're not sewing too above the weft, because it's more like you're just sewing nothing. So ensure you sew down the weft securely, because that is what's going to ensure that you have a perfect, flawless finish. So take your time. I know some people are able to make their wigs in 15 minutes. I've not gotten to the point of being able to make wigs in 15 minutes, probably because of the sewing machine type I'm using. Hopefully by the time I upgrade to the bigger industrial sewing machine that has sort of that circular ball that just makes rotating around the wig cap easy, then maybe I should be faster with my wig making process. But for now, I probably take around 45 minutes to 1 hour for making wigs. Yes, so I'm going to go through the entire guidelines, and when I'm done with making the wig, we are going to proceed to the next process, which is the hair coloring process. So just watch me finish the wig making process. And when I'm done making the wig, if there's any weft that is left behind, I go back in and try and put that weft. If it's either at the middle area, at the back side, anywhere I see space in between the wig, I'm going to add the remaining weft there. This is what the wig looks like now after I finished the wig making process. I used a scissors and trimmed off the ends of the wig to make it equal. You're going to see how the ends of the, you can see right now the ends are sort of uneven, but I'm going to use a clipper and trim it off to give me that blunt cut look before I proceed to recoloring the hair. So this is the wig right here with the blunt cut, and it's time to recolor the hair. And I'm using this developer right here. I believe this is a 30 volume developer. I'm going to pour the developer into a mixing bowl, and I'm also going to use this color, hair color from L'Oreal. It's the color H11 and H8. I'm going to pour the two colors into that bowl of developer and mix it together. And next, after I've thoroughly mixed the colors together to ensure that it's been evenly mixed, I'm going to start applying a mixture on the wig. And how I'm going to do this is I'm going to start from the back side. I'm going to section away the upper part of the wig and start applying that color from the back of the wig and take it up towards the middle side and the up part of the wig. Watch and see me do this. So try and ensure that you saturate every strand of the hair. Ensure every strand of the hair gets in that color, because you don't want a situation whereby one side is black, the other side is red, except that's the look you are going for. But pay attention to every detail, every side of the hair, every strand, and ensure that you completely saturate the hair with the color, so the color comes out completely even and smooth. Okay guys, so after I've completely saturated the wig with the hair color, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to wash off the color. After I've left the color on for about 30 minutes to 45 minutes, I'm going to leave that color on for 30 to 45 minutes and then wash it off with my shampoo and conditioner, air dry the hair, and then style it using my heat protectant, hair serum, straighten the wig, and ensure that the blonde cut is very sharp and clean. And I'm going to show you the finished look, because this is a very, very easy process. It just requires that you pay attention to detail and, you know, really color the hair, color each strand of the hair really well. You can see I'm coloring the hair from the tip of the hair to the top part of where the weft is. And for the closure area, I did not completely color the closure area. I left the closure like about an inch of the closure area uncolored, because I still wanted it to have that dark roots. So I didn't color the entire closure area. You can see from how I'm moving. Yes. So guys, like I said, for the styling of the wig, I washed it off with shampoo, conditioner, air dry. Just check out any of my other videos on how I wash my wigs and style it. I'm quite sure I've done styling for bone straight hair on my channel, so you can watch any of those videos and see how I do it. But it's a very simple process, like washing the hair, air drying it, and restyling it. It's very simple. So I'm going to show you the finished look after I've completely washed the hair. This is what the hair looks like right now. You can see that the red is not that sharp red. It's sort of like a burgundy. And the reason why I love this hair color is because it's a permanent hair color. So you're not going to have a situation whereby after like a year of the hair being exposed to sunlight, the color is going to start fading. This color is going to last really long. That's the reason why I love this particular hair dye. It's quite expensive. The hair dye is expensive, but I love the fact that the color stays for a very long time because it's a permanent hair color. So guys, if you got value from this video, please make sure you smash the like button, share this video with your friends who are also going to get value out of it, and please subscribe to my channel if you're not yet subscribed. Check out my website for products, services that I have available on my website. Purchase my ebook on how to start your hair business. If you want to start your hair business in 2023, you should buy my ebook and read it, or you can buy the paperback from Amazon and read those books. Those books are going to help you in your hair business. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye.